We are live. Okay, cool. We're live on 2 platforms. And now we're live on 3. All right. So we are live on 3 platforms. Today is going to be rapid. And I'm so excited about what we're adding value to you all today. Facebook Live, private Facebook group, also StreamYard, YouTube, and you, IG, InstaFam. What's going on? So today is about stopping the manipulation and reintegrating something that we're actually going to talk a little bit about today when it comes to building rapport. And this is a relevant conversation when it comes to considering the fact that we are all on social media. Okay, we are all on social media. And before I break down this funnel, that took us from 0 to 7 figures in multiple different core niches. And then again, with a low overhead and a sales system that's consistent and reliable, providing a clear product roadmap, who you are attracting in your current link in bio, whether people are clicking on it, whether people are actually going through your stories sales system, or whether people are actually responding to you in DMs. And if you're actually qualifying and setting up calls with people who are not wasting your time. And this was a relevant conversation that I wanted to have with you guys and answer any questions if you want breakthrough questions. If you're on IG, if you're on YouTube, go to my YouTube, Theo Unique Voice, TheoUniqueVoice. And you can jump on live and we're going to just crush some of these questions that you guys may have about sales, or sometimes they're internal limiting objections. And so, but before we get started, I wanted to just share a little bit of a story about one of the breakthroughs that I had. And this was before we had a high profit margin, about 90% profit margin. And before we were also doubling down on these 4 core offers that we've been known for, which is Embody Wealth Codes, subconscious hypnotherapy, which is the quantum rapid hypnotherapy certification that I serve. Then also the Aura Speaking to Influence. This is more about training B2B, B2C, how to present, how to lead a team meeting confidently and with certainty and natural personality, and get people to buy in. We call that conveyorship buy-in energy. And this is more relevant now more than ever, especially in both entrepreneurship and corporate, because again, like I said, if you resonate with yourself, if you resonate with clarity on your values, you will begin to allow the complexity of the mind to shut off, and the thinking mind will start to shut off and it will start to go quiet. And that's what it takes to get success. People tell me all the time, not all the time, but sometimes they'll say, I really want to have more wealth. I want to have more money. God has this mission for me, this level of responsibility for me. And I want to make sure that I'm in integrity with the fact that oftentimes we can get in our own way. And so authenticity in my world always means that you are being world class, because underneath all of the limiting beliefs, the negative self-talk, the decision fatigue, the derping, that's easy to get caught up in addition to persona fatigue, which is easy to get caught up in, you will find a charismatic, organic, natural, potent leader, speaker, someone who can actually have a hilarious sense of humor, and also just be positive most of the time, be happy most of the time, be grateful most of the time, every single day, whether or not you're a woman or a man. And so when I was journeying into building my business with high overhead, 12 team members, high churn rate, massive overwhelm, massive burnout, classic bro scaling, what I started to understand about myself is that even though I had suffered a lot with depression, anxiety, I found myself in a very similar trail. And a lot of the consequences that I was facing again in 2023 was that I was burning the candle at both ends. And I was really just confused, because even though I had built a lot of success financially. And I had a lot of amazing clients that got amazing results because of the way that my business model was set up for product positioning. I realized a lot of my clients were still not having as much access to me because they would get diverted off once we had our first one-on-one to an assistant coach. So they would have less access to my mind, less access to my skill set, less access to my consulting. And so I was afraid of what to do. Worked so hard to build something that was just a legacy. Worked so hard to build this recognition, so hard to build this reputation in the industry. And this was terrifying for me because I had a lot of objections, honestly, to actually solve this problem in a new way, because I honestly felt that that was all I knew. I knew that I had to get over myself. And I think that this is even harder actually for experienced coaches, established coaches, to ask for help because we think we know it all. And that's exactly what I was facing when I was scaling. I was in Austin at the time. I was just out of a relationship, and things were really just about purpose, mission, vision, execution, make it happen. So I had to just stop everything, and I had to just assess the situation for just a moment to recognize where I was maybe missing some key levers that I could pull, where I could actually maybe find some insight from someone who had already walked the path in this ever-evolving industry, ever-evolving market saturation, the economic market, the technological advancements, and also the sophistication of the average buyer these days with so many options, so much commoditization. I had to actually seek support proactively. And so that's what I did. And honestly, I just had to have a sit down with him. And he just sat me down. He said, yo, Theo, like, I know that you have challenges right now. I know that you feel that there's a lot of energetic mental bandwidth getting monopolized because of the overhead, because of the level of stress that you're going through. And because of also a lot of the kind of challenges that come along with being a CEO and managing other personalities, different types of leadership, different styles of structure within not just our company, but also how other people were scaling when we first partnered. And he just asked me a question like, how can I tell you that the way that you're thinking about this, the way that you are solving this problem is doing more harm than good without you getting angry? I'm just like, I just stopped. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe I should go like 10x the amount of energy. Maybe I should go at 10x the amount of fortitude and discipline. But he just said, just stop everything. And just understand that a lot of times what ends up happening is that we want to honor the power of choice. We want to commit. We want to play a big game. We want to dream bigger. But oftentimes what you'll realize is that sometimes you're trying too hard. Sometimes you're doubling down on things that got you to here that will never get you there. And in that moment, he asked me if I was really fully fucking committed to something that was transcendent of my own personal success. And we can all sit here and say, oh, well, I want impact, and that we know a lot. And he's like, yo, but at the end of the day, knowledge is only knowledge when you execute on that knowledge. And when you actually value your time, you have an opportunity cost awareness of what it will cost you if you don't innovate based on numbers, based on principles, but also based on the fact that there's an authentic version of you that's absolutely crushing it, absolutely having a great time, absolutely just in pure flow. But then there's also a version of you, Theo, that can honor the power of commitment to just surrender and to just release and just to not actually even try at all. And I just stopped and I just was owning where I was at. I accepted where I was at. And I specifically chose to release my have not paradigm, which was to be in have not, like never ending have not paradigm of when I get to this, then I'll be satisfied. When I get to this, then I'll be happy. When I get to this, then I'll feel free. And it was so funny because that was exactly how I was supporting and coaching and training and teaching and consulting and mentoring my fucking amazing clients. And so I actually just transcended into this softening, into this consciousness where I began to get great results in high leverage automated lead gen. I began to find my crack in the dam even more so in personal branding, in unlocking and finding my voice. But I also began to realize there were so many things that were keeping me stuck at a certain cap. And if you've ever felt that way, that's why I share this, because I know that there's a lot of coaches wondering where the next clients are going to come from. And I'm not just saying that as someone who's created messaging around this, but the reality is that when I became so congruent to who I was, beyond the physical, beyond the things, beyond all the influence, and beyond the circle of influence that I had, I was lucky because I had generated relationships, masterminds, and I had accessed certain rooms that gave me the keys to others who I could humble myself and ask them for what has been working well for them. And the current purpose that I was at the time wasn't enabling me to articulate and communicate my zone of genius, my specialization. And so now I run a much lower churn rate, much higher client retention. And I'm so grateful because I do still get to travel the world. I still do get to serve and share what I know to the people who are in our communities in 19 different countries. But I also am grateful because my values had changed after doing all the luxury stuff, buying the nice things, having the nice things, attracting high-level clients because of that. But then also understanding that there was a new level of Theo, of me, as a person, as a CEO, as a friend, as a lover, as a son, as a future father, that I was stepping into before I was even aware of it. So my values changed based on certain pain points, also based on certain breakthroughs, these liberated, connected, joyful fucking breakthroughs of not taking myself so fucking seriously and allowing myself to receive the now. Allowing myself to completely master the neuroscience of state control, and then our version of that, which is hypnotic transcendent communication or hypnotic influence. I was able to parlay that, structure that within a sell by chat system and an offer positioning system. And that was honestly the only reason why I was able to not just get to 7 figures 2 years ago, but scale past that, double that in my life's work, from helping other people get 10x the amount of results that we got collectively. So the reason why I'm sharing that is because I'm just so grateful that I still get to go where I want to go. I still get to meet the types of people that I've always wanted to meet. Sometimes it's been very synchronistic. Sometimes that's been just absolutely insane what you can manifest once you just learn how to stop being a derper who says 2 + 2 is 5, doesn't question authority, doesn't have this kind of aversion to conforming, which is what I've always stood for if you've been around my brand for a while, but also blowing people's fucking minds that their dream client is currently in their audience if they would just tweak slightly their messaging and their offer positioning authority and have a predictable sales system that has to do with conversation rather than just kind of sitting around waiting for somebody to click on your link in bio, to click on your extinct website that has no relevancy at really that much unless you're one of the top 3 to 5 thought leaders in your said category. And so this is where I began to really evolve things based on the priority that I was thinking about them. Because here's the thing, I was prioritizing, we had this conversation in one of my cohorts, actually, Elite 7 Circle. And the reason why it failed initially is because I had outgrown a certain character. I had outgrown a certain identity, and I had outdated systems when it comes to how I believe scaling should be, which is to have a clear philosophy of how I want to grow. I clearly resonate with the feminine flow, but I also clearly resonate with the aligned structure that's actually required based on the principle you rise or fall to the level of your systems. And so I break down this funnel in this mini course that I'm going to show you guys just for today, that you can actually get access to for free. We usually charge $600 for this. And here it is, baby. Here it is. What's up, Alexa? How we doing, X Vibe? How we do, Tala? Okay. And so as you can see, guys, I don't know if you can see this on your side, but this is the entire mini course, which shows you how to evolve your offer. So a lot of people don't really have clarity on their next chapter as a leader and the business model that's going to actually enable them to flow rapidly into higher cash flow, meaning 6-figure month cash flow each and every single month, not just with monthly recurring revenue, but also with more pay in fulls, to the point where you can get the fuck off of sales calls, get the fuck off of exhausting live launches, and stop throwing money away in expensive, risky ads that just have a higher burn rate, and show you that so many people overthink this shit and they're determined to make it complicated when it actually doesn't have to be complicated, to fill your top of funnel with qualified leads, to accelerate the nurture process without nurturing for 3 months, and actually seeing that there's people, for instance, in our community, we've had closed clients who just found their page in a matter of 24 to 48 hours. So yes, it is simple, and it also is robust. And the funniest thing about this is that when we go down here, the 5 golden gates of transcendent communication and positioning your irresistible offer in sell by chat, as you guys can see, this one video, or this 2 combination of video, has made our clients over 10 million in the last year. And it is just, it's crazy though, right? Because this is just a fucking recording. But really, we all know that every business problem is a personal problem. And that's why we have frequency identity transformation at the subconscious level for every single one of our clients. Because again, people are feeding their frame with self-fulfilling prophecies based on all their biases, all the controlling of frames that get put into them before their consent. And this is about stopping the fucking manipulation, but teaching people how rapport is designed for humans. And an interesting statistic is that 80% of your sales comes through following up. 44% of coaches fail to follow up because they get butthurt that someone maybe was just busy when they saw their message. Maybe they just didn't actually have some clarity on what it is that they wanted. Maybe they just didn't feel like responding. It's really that simple. And this is so much more about not taking things personally, but this is about having the kind of offer, having the kind of voice, having the kind of core message, having the kind of brand voice messaging that allows your audience to see that nobody does what you do quite like you do. And this took me fucking 10 years to get out of my own way and to stop blocking success. Okay, to stop blocking the normalcy bias. And the normalcy bias shows us that a lot of people will pretend like they know everything, and yet they still don't have the results. And they use the I already know that principle in their mind to feed a frame that they already have a plan. And it makes sense, right? The normalcy bias, the confirmation bias, these are all things that keep people in this kind of have-not paradigm that doesn't allow them to see the solution. And on top of that, there's certain resonancies that have people having more of a derper trance as well, such as simple things: bad sleep, bad nutrition, so you can't even think clearly. You've got light coming in through the blinders. You've got not a good temperature room. You're not taking supplements. Maybe you don't have self-control or impulse control around certain instant gratification, dopamine dumps, things like weed, cope, things like drinking alcohol consistently, massive cope, no judgment, things like scrolling through TikTok and Instagram for consumption, complete cope. And I only know this because that was also me. Okay. So my question to you is, who are you ready to collaborate with? Who are you ready to partner with? And my question that I answered this other day that I actually had to write down, it was so fucking good. But ask yourself, what does your newer audience not know about you? What did they not know about you? And what was your best month this year? Was it up to your standards? Was it up to your expectations? And which assets did you use this week? For instance, we use our offer streamline asset to help our clients to stop overthinking and overcomplicating their pitches and their offers, so to the point where they can actually sell themselves without needing to even talk to the CEO. Okay. And this is how we have a good time, because I know that a lot of the clients that I do attract have done all the shiny gimmicks and strategies, and they've built the websites, they've had the live events, they've been running around crushing it, and they've been kind of just trying new things, the book funnel, the low ticket ad spend. They've tried the shiny funnel. They've tried spamming people. They've tried networking with other people with the same results. And, you know, my mentor also told me one time, he said, yo, Theo, like, why would you take criticism from someone who you wouldn't even take their advice from? And I'm like, damn, you are so fucking brilliant that you can make things seem so simple. That something as simple as like, okay, know your numbers. What's your goal? Why is that important to you? If you could have one thing that you could get solved right now, what's the bottleneck in your business? What's the bottleneck in your own self-belief? What's the bottleneck in who you're surrounding yourself with? And what's the one piece of content that performed the best for you? You see, here's the thing. Like, if your content isn't signing clients and isn't converting sales every single time you post, it just shows, in my world at least, that you're still not attracting your ideal client. And this is not about how old are they, what's their age, what's their race, what's their gender, what's their career, what's their relationship status. This is not about that at all. This is about raising the clarity of spectrum, how these issues and what these needs of our dream clients actually show up. How does it show up in their day? Are they diverting to socializing? Are they diverting to going to the gym to get fit? When deep down they know there's a subtle avoidance of the next step as a leader. There's a subtle avoidance, not confronting things that keep them numbing themselves with content creation, posting incessant, and flooding the internet with content. Because that does feel really good to create something and publish it and then get some likes. It feels really good to have a big brand. But I work with bigger brands, and some of them don't even make more than 30, 40K a month, when they should be making at least 6 figures a month if they just had a reliable sales system with sell by chat. But in any case, what do I know? I don't know anything. I only generated 8 figures with sell by chat. So I don't know anything. You know, you guys should not listen to what I have to say. I'll probably just go out and grab a cheeseburger. I'll just probably go out and grab a cheeseburger. And that's the vibe, guys. That's the vibe. Is like my client the other day, Kazim, he just closed 3K today without even talking to anybody on the phone call. And he just shared that, like, the way that I teach is almost like a fucking plant medicine journey mixed with like an insanely streamlined, effective way to lead and communicate and qualify people in your current list, and also understand how to get the most ROI on every single thing that you do in fact post on your stories or in your long format content, which is something that no one else was teaching when I was actually designing this system, which was not mainstream or cookie cutter, but also not like fairy tale, like just sit on your ass and just, you know, meditate and then just expect to not be any different from the people in Venice Beach that are just straight up broke, but they get so spiritual, right? They're so good at being present when there's nothing happening around them. But the moment any challenge comes in, the moment there's a little bit of social pressure, there's a little bit of social anxiety, the little bit of testing of their frame, they get crushed. They get crushed. And yet the plant medicine, it's another identification. It's another, and I've been there too, right? The whole identification with the strategy, the identification with the self that is the false self that's outdated, the identification with certain ways of making moves that, it's human to do that, right? It's human to do that. So if you guys don't have any questions, I just want to share that because I think that a lot of people are concerned about, their best next steps. And I always like to tell people like, no, don't try to solve your problems from where you're at because there's too many variables. What you need, my friends, is something that is reverse engineered. And if you don't know your outcome, it's highly likely you're not in a vibrational state to even receive the lane that is always available to you at any given moment, And when you understand yourself on a deeper level, you understand where this place is. You understand actually what's working now according to data. A lot of these issues around like, what should I fix, go away, because you'd realize that you have to diagnose first before you solve. And a lot of people are trying to solve things before they actually audit what is. And when we don't audit what is, team, we actually just keep drinking from the glass because it's not broken. But if you expect to get different results, when was the last time you just crawled back to your comfort zone of familiarity and you changed your results? Did that ever happen? So when it works, ask yourself, why does it work? Well, if you are measuring things, you'll know why that works. If you're not measuring things, you're just kind of getting lucky. Like a lot of people have made like a lot of bank. We all had a lot of bank in 2021. And because there was just a booming industry. But now because there's so much saturation, a lot of buyers don't know who to trust. A lot of buyers don't even know which is the best solution. And a lot of buyers don't even know what the real problems of their clients are. A lot of closers are not aware of that. A lot of people listen to mainstream sales advice or mainstream offer creation advice, which is why they attract derper clients who are not even people who they want in their high proximity spaces, or at least their highest proximity spaces. And that's something that I just had to say no to, because when you say no to one thing, you create space for something even better. And when you get interested rather than come to conclusions, you begin to not have so much of a needy energy to the point where like people can feel that. They can feel the transaction. They can feel all that. And I'll leave you guys with this. Someone asked me like, okay, with all this stuff that you're teaching us about how to influence, how to build rapport, how to create bonding in a way that has people do the things that you want them to do, but feel really good about it. Let's say you knew how to do that and you still didn't do it. You would actually end up being the less ethical one. And the nuance here is that people who are sociopathic or they're on the spectrum of either sociopathy or narcissism. See, the thing is we tend to kind of give this totality assumption of narcissism. But the truth is that your nervous system, all humans' nervous systems relatively are self-concerned. Okay. Ultimately, that's just the facts. And until you accept the facts, I'm not here to be the bad guy. I'm just here to show people the map and the best practices for how to synergize the map with the actual territory. But when you realize that you can be in the world, but not of the world, you can leverage this to do good for other people. And so what you want to look out for this is when you're communicating with people, or so, let's say you're getting communicated with someone else and they're just echoing back to you, they're mirroring back to you. You just want to sense out of this, if this energy, that energetic intention that it's coming from, are they actually genuinely, sincerely interested in what you have to say? Because if you can use your intuition, you'll understand how to read people like a fucking book. And you can see all the little micro expressions that show whether or not they're congruent fully with thoughts, words, and actions. And it literally is that simple. It's the same thing in relationships. I was a relationship coach for 1.5 years, and that was a fucking mind fuck, because I realized that in addition to all the other programs I've ever created were for myself. It was a selfish move for me to create those, because those were the areas that I struggled with the most. You picking up what I'm putting down? If you're not, that's awesome too. So anyways, when it comes to the authenticity shakedown, you're going to start to see a lot of brands go to the wayside. You're going to see a lot of coaches level the fuck up, but you're going to start to understand that there's this kind of like parabola, right? So you have like the derper dabblers here. Then you have like the main median of the industry of coaches and consultants and brands. And then you also are going to have like the top 3 to 5 people in each category who take in the lion's share of all of the volume of buyers in this industry. And by the way, now until Christmas is the highest state of buyer energy. Your job is to enter that conversation that is already happening in your ideal client's mind naturally and congruently. And that's why I said, like, you can totally stretch yourself and access a version of yourself that is so fucking potent and authentic in the moment, serving people and adding value, just like you would show up to a Christmas party instead of just kind of being in hum-ho vibes and being like, well, I don't want to talk to people. I want to self-isolate because that's authentic to me. It was like, dude, everybody came to the fucking party to have a good time and to just connect. Everyone just wanted to just vibe and just keep things light. But no, you have to be yourself. What? Doesn't make sense to me. In the same way, there's also a version of you that is very chill, that is not even trying, just not even in resistance. And like Eckhart Tolle, there's a space around the resistance that can just dissolve it with acceptance and letting go. And there's that softer version of you that's more graceful, that's more easeful, that's kind, that's compassionate. It also gets insane results as well. So there's different versions of yourself. As a brand, it's important to get clarity about what your values and your vision is. And not just that, but like everyone says that. What I would say is like, okay, how do you make sure that you stop sounding like every fucking coach on social media? And how do you unlock a version of yourself where you're not just playing not to lose, but rather you're playing instead to win? And you're realizing that, yes, there's people who are waiting with open arms to show you that you can actually become this version of yourself who is naturally swagalicious, naturally fucking hilarious, naturally the leader, naturally someone who people aspire to be like, not to be, but to be like. And that's that kind of lever of, okay, this versus that, authenticity versus just fake it till you fucking become it. Shift your physiology, shift your focus, learn how to solve problems much faster, learn how to spin multiple plates, choose the path of maybe more resistance, and realizing like that's a fact of life. No different from how when you go to the gym, you it's not like you're expecting not to have some pain, not to have a little bit of cortisol going off in your brain. No different from how like you can see that, 2020 was like, oh, 2 + 2 is 5, right? Yeah, totally. 2 + 2 is 5. Okay. You get my point. You don't have to be like that, just asleep to recognize what this place is. And so when you unlock that ability for you to have certain boundaries and standards in your life, so that you can also learn how to take ownership of where you're missing the mark, and how a lot of the people in the middle, the medium of the market, making anywhere from like 8K to 30K, that part of the market is incredibly apathetic and complacent because they're comfortable. And so you need to know how to create an offense position to the point where you can get them into motion, get them into inspired action towards your offers. And that's why we wake up, or myself and my team wake up to 3 to 4 messages every single day of new messages of people who are leaning into our offers from the way that my feed content synergizes and aligns and harmonizes with my story content and the way that the business model is structured, which literally takes about 60 minutes to fucking complete. And here you see a lot of coaches refining and tweaking their messaging, refining their website. I'm like, okay, keep doing that. Keep doing that. Now, as long as you're measuring things, I support all of your sovereign decisions. And I think that a lot of people don't understand the best offers that are working now because they're not quite innovating based on what the data says about the market. And so what we've been doing is how to bolt in these rapid installation offers and also how to understand how to frame and position the high level elite, either hybrid group offer, which is what I call the multi-dimensional positioned offer max model formula, where you could take any type of signature process and turn it into a model that sells one offer, one product, one traffic source, one conversion tool, and one leverage delivery to get off of the burnout train and on to the leverage time capital train. Get off of the manual lead gen train and on to the hybrid automation lead gen train, and not just shit quality, but high quality. There's a difference between shit and high. I don't know what that fucking means, but it just feels right when you're in that flow state. And so you're going to see more people going and leaving the industry. Sales have been low. They're desperate. And in January, it's going to even be more of that because they didn't plan for December, and they have no plan of momentum of proactivity from now until Christmas. And then they're going to be running around scrambling for clients and cash. It's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. We see this happen over the last years. Every single niche, it goes down over and over and over again. And it's like, it's another self-fulfilling prophecy that gets reinforced into someone's identity. Okay, this is what you'll see. Okay, so this is about being ethical, and this is about understanding like why statistics matter so much. And if I could just say one thing that helped a client recently was to just stop overthinking things. In fact, if you feel high status, you don't think a lot. And that doesn't have to do with how you look. It doesn't have to do with what you've accomplished. It also doesn't have to do with what you own or what you have, what you sound like, or what your face looks like, or what your story is. But that has to do more with the clarity of the business model, again, that takes someone from the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, all the way to the down. So when we're about to drop off to this live, guys, just let me know that you saw this. But we've got a free course, the free Sell by Chat, Transcendent Sell by Chat course. DM me the word free course and I'll send it right over for the next 48 hours. And the first 10 people are going to get access to that for free. When that sells out, it's going to be, again, back to $200. So DM me the word free course and I will send that right over as soon as you do that. And just remember, there's low friction when you release the sales resistance up until the offer. If you don't know how to do that, you're going to still continue to need to reframe people's like, well, I need to think about it, or send me the information, or it's too much money, or it's a financial block, or I just need to fix this other thing in my life before I it's a full body fuck yes, or send me, I'm just a little bit confused at how it works, or I don't trust that you'll support me every step of the way. There are so many things that people have in their head that you could have prevented if you just had the right system for communication, right? So this content has been absolutely smashing it, because when you are going live, people cannot see right past you, because they always see right past you when you are, there's no filter. There's no neurotic holding pattern, holding you back, sitting there, pressing, oh, I fucked it up. Okay, let me do it again. Oh, I fucked it up. I'm doing it again. I'll knock out my week's worth of content on every Friday, batch it up, and I already know which content's performing the best, and we just double down on that. Batch it up, double down on that. Batch it up, double that back. And then you pull it back, you start to realize that when, like, the cool thing about my business model is that I get to invest the most time and energy into serving my clients. And honestly, I think that that's like the best business model to have, because when you're not focused deeply on your clients' results, they begin to lose touch with what? Their own belief in themselves and their own consistency in implementation and speed of implementation. So anyways, guys, have a good day. Have a good day. YouTube, have a good day. And there's going to be a lot of value in that course. If you buy it for the $200, if you get it, you can get it for free if you're one of the first 10 people. But if you get it for $200, you hate the thing, it doesn't work, you never implement it because you never valued it, you never paid for it. But if you implement it and you hate it, fucking refund the fucking thing. I don't care. I honestly don't care. But again, send me that message and we'll shoot that right over. Okay, so peace, DM me community. And if you want also proof, happy to do that.